Welcome to this patch 737 clash between Vici Gaming on Radiant and Heroic on Dire. Two elite teams with everything on the line today. We've got leaderboard stars on both sides ready to showcase their skills. Vici Gaming brings aggressive tempo control while Heroic counters with disciplined objective focus. The current meta favors early aggression and Roshan control. Let's dive straight into the draft where this game will be won or lost. Heroic opens the draft with their first ban, removing Marcy from the pool immediately. This is calculated strategic thinking, taking away one of the patch's most versatile and powerful heroes from Vici Gaming's options. Marcy has been dominating across multiple positions this patch, playable as an aggressive roaming support who repositions allies with Sidekick, turns around ganks with Dispose, and deals surprising damage through Unleash. She can also go offlane as a durable initiator with sustain and kill potential. Marcy's flexibility makes her dangerous because opponents don't know where she'll lane until the game starts, making counterpicks difficult. By removing Marcy with the very first ban, Heroic denies Vici Gaming a versatile tool that could fit multiple strategies and forces them to reveal their intentions more clearly through their actual hero picks, since they can't hide behind flexible options that work in any position. Heroic continues immediately with their second ban, targeting Shadow Demon before Vici Gaming can even respond. Another smart denial, eliminating defensive support options early in the draft phase. Shadow Demon has been a premier defensive support this patch, capable of saving cores from certain death with Disruption, creating invulnerability windows, dealing percentage-based damage through Shadow Poison that remains relevant throughout all game stages, and providing lockdown through Demonic Purge that goes through Black King Bar, making him valuable even in late-game scenarios. His ability to save cores from burst damage combinations makes aggressive strategies more difficult to execute successfully. Heroic is eliminating this defensive tool early, pushing Vici Gaming toward more aggressive or lane-dominant support choices that can't save their cores as effectively when Heroic commits resources to securing kills. This shapes the support pool significantly. Vici Gaming responds with their first ban, removing Huskar from consideration entirely. Interesting strategic choice here, revealing some information about their potential draft plans and composition direction. Huskar is a niche counterpick hero, incredibly strong against magic-heavy lineups due to his Berserker's Blood ability, granting magic resistance that scales higher as his HP drops lower, effectively making him tankier the more damaged he becomes. He turns magic damage lineups into complete liabilities since their spells actually make him stronger rather than weaker through the resistance mechanic. By banning Huskar preemptively before showing any picks, Vici Gaming might be planning a magic damage-focused draft composition and doesn't want Heroic to have an easy counter available later in the draft when Vici Gaming's strategy becomes apparent through their hero selections. This gives us early insight into their strategic direction, potentially leaning toward magical burst and control rather than physical damage cores. Vici Gaming adds their second ban on Largo before Heroic can respond again with another pick or ban. This appears to be a respect ban toward one of the newer hero additions to the competitive pool that teams are still learning to play against optimally. Teams are still developing optimal strategies against Largo's unique ability kit, and Vici Gaming isn't taking chances with uncommon matchups that might have hidden counterpick potential they haven't practiced against in their scrimmages. They're keeping the draft within known parameters where they can execute practice strategies and rely on their preparation rather than gambling on unfamiliar interactions or mechanics they haven't mastered. This conservative approach suggests Vici Gaming has a specific game plan in mind and doesn't want wildcard heroes disrupting their execution or forcing them to adapt on the fly. Heroic uses their third ban on Windranger, continuing to shape the available hero pool and narrow down Vici Gaming's options. Now the framework of their strategy becomes clearer with this particular denial. Windranger is one of Dota's most flexible heroes throughout the game's history, capable of playing mid lane where she dominates with Power Shot Harass and Windrun escapes, off lane where she provides physical damage and Shackle Shot control for teamfights, or even support with her long-range abilities and utility for the team. Her ultimate Focus Fire shreds towers and isolated targets, making her dangerous for split pushing and objective taking when left alone. By removing Windranger from the pool, Heroic eliminates one of Vici Gaming's most versatile options and forces them into more predictable lane assignments that Heroic can prepare counterpicks against. This also suggests Heroic wants to control the tempo through their own hero picks rather than reacting to Vici Gaming's flexible positioning across the map. Vici Gaming bans Treant Protector in response, targeting the vision and map control game entirely with this ban. This is about denying information gathering capabilities and tower defense mechanics. Treant can move invisibly around the entire map with nature's GUIs, providing eyes on enemy movements through eyes in the forest planted strategically in trees across key areas of the map, while simultaneously healing towers with living armor to slow down siege attempts and negate harass damage on cores during the laning phase. Vici Gaming doesn't want to play the vision chess game that Treant creates, where every movement gets spotted through tree vision and every tower push gets delayed by global healing that can be cast from anywhere. They're keeping the map control straightforward without invisible supports wandering everywhere, creating paranoia and forcing constant sentry ward purchases that drain gold resources. Vici Gaming adds another ban immediately, targeting Betrider before the pick phase begins and heroes start getting locked in. Excellent strategic ban protecting their future picks from a powerful counter. Betrider is one of the game's premier initiators throughout Dota's history, capable of dragging heroes completely out of position with Flaming Lasso, flying over terrain and cliffs that other heroes can't cross with Firefly, and dealing damage over time through sticky napalm stacks that also slow turn rate. He's particularly effective against immobile cores and heroes who rely on specific positioning to execute their abilities properly in teamfights. With Vici Gaming potentially planning around specific hero combinations that require careful positioning, they don't want Heroic to have Betrider ready to disrupt those setups by dragging cores away from their teams or into bad positions. This protects their future picks and suggests Vici Gaming values positional teamfighting and coordinated ability usage. The picking phase begins now, with both teams having completed their initial ban waves. Heroic has first pick advantage in this draft, and they're using it to lock in Shadow Fiend for their first selection. This is a statement pick from Heroic, declaring their intentions immediately and setting the tone. Shadow Fiend is a high-tempo mid-lane carry who farms incredibly fast through Necromastery, accumulating bonus damage with each creep and hero kill that stacks throughout the game. His Shadow Rays provide strong harass and farming tools on a short cooldown, while his Requiem of Souls delivers massive area of effect damage and presence reduction in teamfights when positioned correctly. Shadow Fiend wants to dominate his lane matchup, stack souls aggressively, reach critical items like Black King Bar and Butterfly quickly through efficient farming, then start fighting to take over the map and create pressure. This pick signals Heroic's intention to set the pace and tempo of the entire game from the opening minutes. They're not playing defensively or reactively. They want their mid-core to dominate and create pressure that forces Vici Gaming to respond to them rather than executing their own game plan. Shadow Fiend will go to Yuma, one of their star players known for exceptional farming efficiency and mechanics. Vici Gaming responds with their first pick, selecting Mars for the off-lane position. This is a brilliant answer to Shadow Fiend's aggression and a hero that counters glass cannon cores perfectly in teamfights. Mars is an incredibly durable strength hero with one of the game's best teamfight ultimates in Arena of Blood. The arena traps heroes inside a circle, preventing them from leaving except through specific mobility abilities like Blink Dagger, and reduces their damage output significantly against Mars through the barrier. If Shadow Fiend gets caught inside an arena without Black King Bar activated or before he can cast Requiem of Souls, he's in critical danger and likely dies to focus damage. Mars also provides initiation through Spear of Mars, impaling enemies against terrain for a stun and positioning tool that sets up kills. His Bulwark passive makes him nearly impossible to kill from physical damage when facing enemies directly due to massive damage reduction. Vici Gaming is building a frontline hero who can contest Heroic's mid-game push timing and control where teamfights happen across the map. Mars forces fights into confined spaces that benefit Vici Gaming's lineup composition. Heroic now has 2 bans available in quick succession during this phase of the draft. Their 4th ban removes Phoenix from the pool immediately without hesitation. Phoenix is a teamfight monster with Supernova Ultimate, creating a massive burning area where enemies must choose to either focus down the egg or fight at severe disadvantage while taking damage over time from the sun. Phoenix would synergize beautifully with Mars's Arena of Blood, trapping heroes who then must deal with a supernova at close range without being able to escape the egg's area of effect or leave the arena. The trapped heroes would be forced to attack the egg while taking damage from multiple sources. Heroic sees this devastating combination coming and eliminates it before it becomes a problem worth solving. Smart denial play, recognizing 2 hero synergies before they materialize in the draft. Heroic's 5th ban targets Tiny immediately afterward, continuing to deny synergy options with Mars. Tiny is another hero who loves fighting inside Mars's arena since enemies can't escape while Tiny throws them with toss and follows with avalanche for massive burst damage in a small area. Tiny also counters Shadow Fiend directly with his burst combo, potentially killing Shadow Fiend before he can react or use Requiem of Souls to turn the fight. The Blink Dagger into Avalanche Toss Tree Swing combo can delete Shadow Fiend from the game in under 2 seconds of action. Heroic is simultaneously protecting their Shadow Fiend pick while denying powerful synergy options with Vici Gaming's Mars pick. This shows deep understanding of hero interactions and drafting intelligently around both their own strengths and opponents' potential combinations that could ruin their strategy. Vici Gaming uses their ban on Meepo next, showing respect for potential niche strategies. This is a respect ban recognizing Heroic's potential draft flexibility and niche pick potential from their player pool. Meepo can be a completely game-ending pick if the enemy draft lacks sufficient area of effect damage and lockdown to deal with 5 Meepo clones simultaneously on the map. The hero requires specific counters, and if those counters aren't present, Meepo can simply overwhelm opponents through numbers and map presence. Vici Gaming doesn't want to gamble on whether Heroic has practiced Meepo strategies in their recent scrims or has a specialist player ready to deploy the hero. They're keeping the draft focused on standard competitive strategies rather than cheese picks that require specific answers and team coordination. This conservative approach ensures Vici Gaming can execute their practiced game plan without adapting to unusual heroes or unconventional strategies. Vici Gaming reveals their second pick now, choosing Jakiro for the support position. Excellent support selection that fits perfectly with their Mars pick and overall team strategy. Jakiro brings double element control with Ice Path, providing a long stun line that can catch multiple heroes in macro prayer, creating a massive zone of fire damage over time that enemies must avoid or take huge damage. His dual breath slows enemies and provides consistent harass, while his liquid fire passive destroys towers rapidly and slows enemy attack speed in fights significantly. Jakiro excels at defending high ground pushes, making it extremely difficult for enemies to siege uphill into Ice Path setups and macro prayer zones without taking massive damage. He also farms reasonably well for a support through efficient jungle clearing with his area of effect abilities that hit multiple camps. This pick indicates Vici Gaming wants to control space in team fights, defend objectives effectively, and make Heroic fight through zones of control before they can reach towers to push. The Mars and Jakiro combination provides strong teamfight control through arena and Ice Path layering. Heroic responds with a double pick, locking in Shadow Shaman and Warlock simultaneously to fill out their support positions. These are both powerful lane dominators who transition into siege specialists perfectly for pushing strategies. Shadow Shaman provides 2 forms of hard disable, with Hex transforming enemies into harmless creatures, and Shackles channeling for extended lockdown duration that can solo kill heroes, plus his Serpent Ward's ultimate summons stationary ward units that deal massive physical damage, allowing him to solo push towers or add significant damage in teamfights when placed well. Warlock brings Fatal Bonds, which amplifies all damage in teamfights by spreading it to all bonded targets, creating percentage-based damage multiplication, and his Chaotic Offering summons a powerful golem that stuns on arrival, provides significant tankiness to absorb tower damage, and creates an additional smaller golem unit on death for continued pressure. Together with Shadow Fiend, these 3 heroes give Heroic incredible pushing power and tower-taking potential when grouped. If Shadow Fiend gets ahead in farm and levels, they can group all their supports with Serpent Wards and Golems tanking tower damage, then systematically destroy every tower on the map. Heroic is drafting a clear timing window strategy focused on mid-game grouped pushing to choke out Vici Gaming's map control. Vici Gaming continues building their composition with a double pick selection, locking in Puck and Faceless Void simultaneously. This is where Vici Gaming's entire strategy crystallizes and becomes completely apparent. Puck is an elusive mid-lane hero with phase shift, providing invulnerability frames to dodge incoming spells and physical attacks, and Blink allowing instant repositioning anywhere nearby for escapes or aggressive plays. Puck's Dream Coil ultimate creates a leash on all enemy heroes in an area, punishing them with damage and stun if they try to break the leash by moving too far from the cast point. Faceless Void provides Chronosphere, arguably the most powerful ultimate in the entire game, freezing all units in a large spherical area except Void himself while he attacks freely without any contest. The combination is absolutely devastating in execution. Chronosphere freezes enemies in place, making them unable to move or cast. Dream Coil leashes them, so even if Chronosphere ends, they can't escape without breaking Coil for additional stun and damage, and the teamfight becomes nearly unwinnable for the enemy team caught in this combo. Vici Gaming is drafting toward that perfect teamfight execution where their ultimates synchronize perfectly. If they reach their item timings and land good chronospheres catching 3 or more heroes, they win the game through superior teamfight control. This is their clear win condition. Heroic counters with their 4th pick, selecting Beastmaster for the offlane position. This is a crucial control hero specifically chosen for this matchup and these opponents. Beastmaster provides constant map vision through his Hawk Scout that can fly anywhere, providing flying vision, and his Boar summons walking anywhere to scout, both of which can scout enemy movements and carry items for true sight detection of invisible units. His Inner Beast aura provides attack speed to all nearby allies, increasing their damage output. Most importantly, his Roar ultimate is one of the few abilities in the game that goes through Black King Bar's magic immunity, meaning he can always lock down one priority target regardless of their items or spell immunity status. Against Faceless Void specifically, Beastmaster can roar him before he casts Chronosphere, canceling the ultimate, or he can interrupt Puck's initiation attempts with instant lockdown. This gives Heroic a reliable counter-initiation tool and disable that works in all scenarios. Wesper will play this Beastmaster, and he's renowned throughout the European scene for his perfect roar timing, interrupting enemy ultimates frame perfectly. We enter the final ban phase now, with both teams having clearer pictures of opponent strategies and compositions. Heroic bans Gyrocopter with their next ban. Gyrocopter is a safe farming carry with flak cannon, allowing him to hit all nearby enemies simultaneously for massive area damage, and homing missile providing long-range harassment and vision of enemies hit. He would fit perfectly in Vici Gaming's protect the carry strategy around Faceless Void, providing a secondary core who farms safely in lanes and contributes massive area of effect damage in teamfights. By removing Gyrocopter from the pool, Heroic limits Vici Gaming's alternative safe carry options and forces them toward potentially riskier carry selections that don't farm as safely or provide the same teamfight presence. Vici Gaming bans Pudge next in response, targeting an unconventional support option. Pudge has become a popular unconventional support pick recently in the professional meta, and his meat hook creates chaotic pick-off scenarios that could completely ruin Faceless Void's careful positioning setup before teamfights begin. Pudge hooking the Void out of position before a fight starts, or hooking enemy heroes away from carefully planned Chronosphere setups, creates randomness that Vici Gaming doesn't want in their games. They want clean, organized teamfights where they can methodically set up their Chronosphere and Dreamcoil combinations without random hooks changing fight dynamics or pulling heroes to unexpected positions. This ban keeps their teamfights predictable and controllable. Heroic bans Clinks with their final ban selection, denying split push strategies. Clinks is a split-pushing specialist hero who can completely avoid teamfights, push side lanes with Death Pack's buff damage destroying towers quickly, and escape with Skeleton Walk invisibility and massive movement speed bonus. Against Heroic's grouped-up 5-man push strategy, Clinks could play Rat Dota on the opposite side of the map, trading buildings instead of fighting directly and forcing Heroic to either split up their grouped push or lose towers to Clinks' split push pressure. By removing Clinks from the pool, Heroic ensures Vici Gaming must engage them directly in teamfights rather than avoiding fights through split-push strategies. This forces the game into the teamfight scenarios where Heroic wants to execute their push timing with all 5 heroes together. Vici Gaming's final ban is Dark Seer, which is strategically interesting. Dark Seer's vacuum ability would be devastating in the hands of either team, sucking multiple heroes together for perfect Chronosphere setups or easy area of effect damage follow-up from abilities. Vacuum also combos with Wall of Replica to create illusion copies of enemy heroes that deal significant damage and confuse fights. Vici Gaming removing this powerful teamfight control tool is curious, since it would actually help their Chronosphere setup significantly, but perhaps they're more worried about Heroic picking Dark Seer to counter their own group teamfights, or they respect Heroic's potential Dark Seer player more than they value the hero for themselves. Either way, Dark Seer is removed from the draft. Heroic reveals their final pick now, Void Spirit for their mid position. This changes lane assignments since they already have Shadow Fiend locked in. Heroic likely plans Void Spirit mid while Shadow Fiend goes to safe lane with support protection from Warlock. Void Spirit is a highly mobile mid-lane hero with incredible outplay potential through his ability kit. Dissimulate provides brief invulnerability and repositioning through multiple portals. Resonant Pulse shields him and damages nearby enemies in an area. Aether Remnant creates portals for mobility across terrain, and Astral Step Ultimate allows instant dash repositioning with damage. Against Puck, this matchup becomes a showcase of pure mechanical skill, where both players will try to bait out abilities and punish mistakes with perfect timing. Void Spirit can also escape Chronosphere with proper dissimulate timing if he predicts it coming, making him harder for Vici Gaming to lock down in fights. Player A will take this mid-matchup against Xanthan and Puck, creating one of the most skill-intensive lanes possible in professional Dota. Vici Gaming completes their draft with the final pick, Templar Assassin for their carry position in the safe lane. TA is a high-damage burst-focused hero who excels at eliminating isolated targets before they can react or retaliate. Refraction gives her charges that block instances of damage while also providing bonus damage on attacks, making her incredibly difficult to trade with in lane since she takes no damage while dealing extra damage on every hit. Meld provides invisibility and armor reduction plus massive bonus damage on her next attack when breaking invisibility for burst. Psy Blades allow her attacks to spill damage in a line behind the primary target, hitting multiple units and allowing her to farm quickly through camps and waves. Her Psionic Trap ability provides vision across the entire map and slows caught enemies significantly for setup. In the hands of Roselia, Templar Assassin will farm quickly through efficient Psy Blade farming patterns, reach critical items like Desolator and Blink Dagger, then start deleting enemy heroes with Meld Strike Burst damage. If this game goes past 35 minutes and TA has 3 or 4 major items completed, she becomes extremely difficult to stop. The draft concludes with both teams seeing their complete lineups and opponent compositions. Let's analyze what each team wants to accomplish. Heroic's composition featuring Shadow Fiend, Void Spirit, Beastmaster, Shadow Shaman, and Warlock is built entirely around an early to mid-game timing window strategy. Their game plan is straightforward and clear. Shadow Fiend farms the safe lane with Warlock support protection, reaching critical items like Black King Bar and Butterfly between 20 to 25 minutes through efficient farming. Void Spirit controls mid lane and looks for pick-off opportunities on isolated supports or rotating enemies. Beastmaster provides off-lane presence, constant vision through summons, and crucial roar lockdown that goes through magic immunity. Once Shadow Fiend completes his core items, Heroic groups all 5 heroes together, uses Shadow Shaman Serpent Wards and Warlock Golem to tank tower damage while the team follows behind dealing damage, and pushes systematically through each tier of towers. They want to choke Vici Gaming out of map control, deny farm opportunities to Templar Assassin by controlling the map, secure Roshan for Aegis insurance, then end the game before TA and Faceless Void reach their critical item timings. Their clock is ticking and they need to execute before 30 minutes ideally. Vici Gaming counters with Templar Assassin, Puck, Mars, Faceless Void, and Jakiro, a composition focused entirely on surviving early pressure then winning one perfect team fight with Chronosphere execution. Mars provides frontline durability and Arena of Blood control, forcing fights into confined spaces where enemies can't escape. Puck adds mobile initiation, spell evasion through phase shift dodging key spells, and Dream Coil combos perfectly with Chronosphere leashing enemies. Jakiro defends high ground with Ice Path and Macro Pair, making it extremely difficult to push uphill against their defense without taking massive damage. Faceless Void can position aggressively, knowing Chronosphere is always a potential fight winner if he lands it on 3 or more heroes. Templar Assassin is their insurance policy with massive single target damage output. Vici Gaming's plan is elegant. Survive Heroic's push timing through superior teamfight execution, defend high ground if necessary using Jakiro's area control, stall the game until TA and Void have multiple major items, then win one decisive teamfight and counter push for victory. They need to reach approximately 35 minutes with cores fully farmed. The heroes are loading into the game now. We see all 10 champions materializing in their respective team fountains. Shadow Fiend's dark demonic presence contrasts sharply with Puck's playful fairy dragon form floating above ground. Mars stands imposing with his shield and spear ready for battle. Beastmaster summons his hawk and boar companions. The supports check their starting items while cores plan their skill builds and laning strategies in voice communications. Heroic will send Shadow Fiend to safe lane with Warlock support protection, Void Spirit mid against Puck, Beastmaster off lane solo against Mars, with Shadow Shaman flexing between lanes for gank attempts. Vici Gaming counters with Templar Assassin safe lane, Puck mid-matching Void Spirit, Mars off-lane solo against Beastmaster, and Jakiro plus Faceless Void forming their dual support setup. The map is pristine and untouched. Jungle camps are preparing to spawn at the 1-minute mark, and both teams are finalizing their level 1 strategies. The countdown timer begins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The horn sounds. We are underway at 0 minutes 0 seconds. The game has begun. Both teams move out from their fountains. Heroic heading to lanes with standard starting items. Vici Gaming doing the same. No unusual level 1 movements, no invade attempts, both teams playing standard and respecting defensive positioning. Beastmaster walks toward top lane off lane for Heroic, while Mars heads there for Vici Gaming. These two strength heroes will brawl for lane dominance. Mid lane sees Void Spirit taking position. Vici Gaming's puck flies to mid. This lane will be technical and skill-based. Both heroes have escape mechanisms and harass tools. Bottom lane has Shadow Fiend with Warlock support for Heroic. Vici Gaming sends Templar Assassin with Jakiro and Faceless Void to contest. This is difficult for Shadow Fiend since TA's Refraction blocks his raise damage. 30 seconds. Creep waves meet in all 3 lanes. Mid lane, Void Spirit positions for last hits. Puck contests as aggressively. Puck launches Illusory Orb. Void Spirit sidesteps it. Nice dodge. Both players testing reactions, 1 minute mark. Void Spirit has 4 creeps, Puck has 3. Very even. Both denying aggressively, controlling equilibrium. Neither wants to push forward and expose themselves to ganks. Top lane shows Beastmaster trading hits with Mars. Bore out harassing. Mars uses Bulwark to reduce damage. They're brawling for every creep. Bottom lane, Shadow Fiend is being zoned by Jakiro's Dual Breath and Ice Path threats. TA farming freely with Refraction. At 1:30, TA has 6 last hits to Shadow Fiend's 4. Heroic's carry is under pressure. 2 minutes in. Mid remains even. Void Spirit 8 creeps, Puck 7. Neither has decisive advantage. Both playing carefully. Top lane slightly favors Beastmaster. At 2:15, Beastmaster has 9 last hits, Mars 7. Wesper winning the CS battle. Bottom lane tilting toward Vici Gaming. At 2:30, TA has 12 last hits to Shadow Fiend's 7. That 5 CS advantage is meaningful. TA building toward her first item faster. 3 minutes. Both mids checking cameras aware 4-minute rune spawns soon. Neither can leave lane yet without sacrificing creeps. Top lane, Beastmaster hit level 3. Playing more aggressively, denying Mars. Mars being pushed under tower. 3:40 shows bottom lane activity. Jakiro positioning aggressively toward Shadow Fiend. Ice Path comes out. Shadow Fiend tries to dodge but gets caught, he's stunned. Faceless Void charges in. Time dilation slows. Templar Assassin blinks from fog. Meld strike. Massive damage. Shadow Fiend taking burst from all 3. Below half. Below quarter. He's trying to run. 59 seconds. Shadow Fiend goes down. First blood to Vici Gaming. TA secures it at 59 seconds. Exactly what Heroic feared. Shadow Fiend dying before 1 minute gives TA first blood gold, additional 150 gold. TA now has substantial advantage. Shadow Fiend loses almost a full minute respawning. Shadow Fiend respawns, buys TP, ports to bottom tower, but damage is done. He's missed experience from waves. 4 minutes. TA has 19 last hits. Shadow Fiend 12. Gold gap widening. 4-minute rune spawn. Mid both racing to river. Puck arrives first. Grabs the rune, regeneration rune. Puck bottles it. Void Spirit denied sustain. Top lane at 4:30, Beastmaster dominating. 22 last hits level 4. Mars level 3, 16 creeps, half health. If Beastmaster hits 6 before Mars, that roar will threaten kills everywhere. 5 minutes. Laning phase settling. Mid roughly even. Top heavily favoring Heroic. Bottom heavily favoring Vici Gaming. Shadow Shaman roaming. Moving toward mid. He's level 3 with Hex and Shackles. Looking for gank on Puck. 5:30. Shadow Shaman from Fog. Hex on Puck. Void Spirit turns, uses spells. Bursting Puck. But XT is ready. Phase shift at exact last moment. Invulnerable. Burst misses. Puck blinks away. Escapes with 50 HP. Incredible play. Gank fails but Puck is low, retreats to fountain. Void Spirit gets free farm. This pushes mid slightly toward Heroic. 6 minutes. Bottom shows Shadow Fiend getting space. TA back to buy items. Shadow Fiend catching up. At 6:30, Shadow Fiend 28 creeps, TA 34, still behind but surviving. 6 minutes 30 seconds. Both teams are checking inventories. Shadow Fiend has treads and is working toward his first major item. Templar Assassin has wraith bands, boots, and gold toward Blink Dagger. The farm patterns are establishing themselves. Top lane, Beastmaster is completely zoning Mars now. Mars is struggling to get any last hits without taking boar and right-click harassment. At 6:45, the CS count is 26 for Beastmaster, 19 for Mars. That's a significant 7 creep lead. Mid lane, the rune battle continues. Both players are positioning for the 6-minute rune that just spawned. Void Spirit secures the bounty rune on his side, getting the gold bonus. Puck gets the other bounty. Runes provide 80 gold each at this timing, meaningful for item progression. 7 minutes arrives, and this is huge. Beastmaster just hit level 6. He has Roar Ultimate available. The notification appears on screen. This is dangerous for Vici Gaming everywhere. With Roar going through BKB, Beastmaster can lock down any hero for 4 seconds. 7 minutes 10 seconds, mid lane also sees Void Spirit hit level 6 moments later. Both mids now have ultimates. Kill potential spiked. If either makes a positioning mistake, they could die. 7 minutes 20, we're seeing ward placements. Heroic Shadow Shaman is placing an observer ward on the river, giving vision of Roshan Pit. Vici Gaming has a ward on the top rune spot. The vision game is being played. 7:30 shows Heroic starting to group. Shadow Fiend, Void Spirit, Shadow Shaman, and Beastmaster converging. Moving toward bottom. This looks like dive on TA. Vici Gaming sees rotation on wards. TA backing. Mars TPing from top. 4 versus 4 fight developing. 7:45, teams posturing around bottom. Heroic wants to dive, but Vici Gaming setting up defense. 8 minutes. Beastmaster initiates. Roar on Templar Assassin. She's locked down 4 seconds. Heroic focusing damage. Mars TP completes. Charges forward. Arena of Blood. 3 heroic heroes trapped inside. They can't exit without blink. Puck TPs from mid. Dream Coil wraps heroic heroes in arena. Layered disables. If they move, Coil breaks and stuns. Jakiro follows. Macro pair through arena. Damage stacking. 8:20. Void Spirit dies to combine damage. Shadow Shaman dies seconds later. 2 heroic supports down. Shadow Fiend and Beastmaster retreating. TA chasing with Meld. Shadow Fiend low, running. Reaches tower range. Tower targets TA, forces her back. Shadow Fiend survives with sub 100 HP. Fight ends. Heroic loses 2. Vici Gaming loses 0. Disaster for Heroic. They invested 4 heroes, got nothing except 2 deaths. 8:45. Gold graph shifts dramatically toward Vici Gaming. That fight gave 800 net gold plus experience. TA and Puck got assist gold. Momentum with Vici Gaming. 9 minutes. Heroic regrouping. Shadow Fiend farming jungle camps, catching up safely. Beastmaster back top lane, pushing Mars under tower. 9:15. Void Spirit now level 7, farming mid aggressively, trying to recover. 9:25. We're seeing smoke purchases. Both teams buying Smoke of Deceit for gank attempts. The mid game is approaching. 9:30. Item checks. Shadow Fiend has power treads in Yasha, working toward Manta style. Templar Assassin has Blink Dagger completed. This is huge. With Blink, TA can initiate with Meld. 9:41. Heroic making aggressive move. Beastmaster pushing Vici Gaming's top tier 1. Grouped with others. Hitting tower. Vici Gaming responding. Mars, Puck rotating up. Could be another fight. Teams trading damage. Heroic committed. Tower health dropping. 50%. 40. 30. 9:41. Vici Gaming's top tier 1 tower falls to Heroic. Beastmaster last hit. First tower gold, 200 to each Heroic player. Heroic recovering. First tower despite earlier setback. Global gold helps stabilize. 10 minutes. Laning phase ending, rotations beginning. Both teams moving to mid-game strategies. Item timings becoming critical. 10:15. Rune spawns again. This is a power rune. Top rune is double damage. Puck secures it. Bottles it for later. That DD rune will be powerful in next fight. 10:30. Smoke gank from Heroic. 3 heroes smoked, moving through jungle. Looking for pick on TA. 1040. Vici Gaming senses danger. TA moves to safer positions near tower. The smoke gank is avoided through game sense. 11 minutes. CS counts. Shadow Fiend has 65 last hits. TA has 78. TA maintaining her lead from first blood. 11:20. Big item completion. Shadow Fiend finishes Manta style. Now he has illusions for farming, pushing, and dispelling debuffs. His farm speed will accelerate. 11:40. Top lane another wave of conflict. Beastmaster is pushing out the lane aggressively. Mars trying to defend but Heroic has numbers advantage. 12 minutes 4 seconds. Tower falling. Vici Gaming taking Heroic's top tier 1. Mars gets last hit. Tower trade. 12:30. Item update. Void Spirit has completed Orchid Malevolence. That's a big silence item. He can now silence enemy heroes for 5 seconds and amplify damage. Puck needs to be careful. 12 minutes 55. Another tower. Vici Gaming takes Heroic's mid-tier 1. Mars gets it. Vici Gaming pressing advantage. 12:58. Heroic pushing back. They're hitting Vici Gaming's mid-tower. 13:13. Vici Gaming's mid-tier 1 falls. Tower trades keeping game even. 13:30. Quick inventory check across all heroes. Beastmaster has Blink Dagger completed. Now he can blink into Roar initiations. Shadow Shaman has Aether Lens extending his hex range. Warlock building toward Aghanim's Scepter. Puck has Yule's Scepter for setup and dispel. Jakiro building Glimmer Cape for saves. Mars has Blink Dagger as well. Faceless Void working toward Mask of Madness. 14 minutes. Both teams checking Roshan. The Ancient Creep has been up for a while. Whoever takes Roshan gets significant advantage. 14:10. Heroic making the call. They're entering Roshan pit. Shadow Fiend, Beastmaster, Warlock inside hitting Roshan. Void Spirit and Shadow Shaman watching entrances. Vici Gaming sees it on ward. Are they contesting? They're discussing in comms. 14:15. Roshan at half health. Heroic burning him down with Shadow Fiend's damage. Vici Gaming decides not to contest. They don't have Chronosphere ready yet, too risky. 14:21. Roshan falls. Heroic secures Aegis of the Immortal. Aegis goes to Beastmaster, player slot 130. Whisper picks it up. Interesting choice. Usually Carry gets Aegis but Heroic wants Whisper to initiate aggressively knowing he respawns instantly if he dies. Huge for Heroic. Aegis provides second life. They can fight more aggressively. Their timing window is opening. 14:40. Heroic is grouping all 5 heroes. This is the push. Shadow Fiend has Manta, Void Spirit has Orchid, Beastmaster has Aegis and Blink. This is their timing. 15 minutes. They're moving as a unit toward Vici Gaming's bottom tier 1 tower. 5-man push strategy executing. 15:20. Vici Gaming defending tower with 4 heroes. They're not giving it up easily. 15:30. Skirmish breaking out. Beastmaster blinks in. Roars Mars. Mars locked down. Shadow Fiend and Illusions hitting. Mars takes damage but survives because of Bulwark. Arena comes down after Roar ends. Heroic has to back. Tower still standing. 16 minutes. Heroic regrouping. That push didn't get tower but they're applying pressure. 16:20. Another approach. Heroic hitting tower from distance. Warlock fatal bonds on defenders. Shadow Shaman placing serpent wards. 16:40. Tower at half health. Vici Gaming defending hard. Ice path from Jakiro stopping Heroic advance. 17 minutes. Tower still holding. Jakiro's defense is working. Heroic can't get clean opening. 17:30. Heroic backs off momentarily. Tower at 30% health but still standing. They'll return. 17:59. Heroic pushes again. Final push on this tower. Serpent wards up. Golem summoned. Tower taking damage. 17:59. Heroic's bottom tier 1 falls. Wait, checking data. At 1:79 seconds, 17:59, it's Enki Tota Bad Goose Tower 1 bot falling to Jakiro. Bad Gaze is Dire, which is Heroic. So Vici Gaming takes Heroic's bottom tier 1. Actually, the tower that falls is Heroic's tower destroyed by Vici Gaming's Jakiro. Vici Gaming is trading towers. They took Heroic's bottom tier 1. 18 minutes. Tower situation. Both teams have lost their tier 1 towers in all lanes. It's 3-3 even on tier 1 towers. 18:30. Big item completion. Templar Assassin finishes Desolator. Minus armor item. Her meld strikes will now reduce armor by massive amounts. Combined with Desolator, she'll shred armor. 18:45. Another item. Faceless Void completes Mask of Madness. Attack speed and lifesteal item. His Chronosphere combo is getting scary. With Mask active in Chrono, he attacks incredibly fast. 19 minutes. Gold graph showing very close game. Both teams around 25k net worth. Kills are 8-6 in favor of Vici Gaming, but towers are even. 1920. Rune spawns. Top rune is Invisibility. Bottom is Illusion. Void Spirit grabs the Invisibility rune. That could set up a gank. 1935. Void Spirit with Invis rune is moving through jungle. He's hunting. Looking for solo pickoff. 1950. He finds Faceless Void farming jungle. Orchid silence. Void is silenced. Can't time walk away. Void Spirit killing him. But Mars arrives. Spear on Void Spirit. Stunned. Arena of Blood. Void Spirit trapped. Void Spirit dissimulates. Invulnerable briefly, but Arena keeps him trapped. Mars and TA killing him. Void Spirit dies. Trade kill. Void Spirit gets Faceless Void but dies to Mars and TA. 1 for 1. 20 minutes. This is the critical timing. Both teams are checking their inventories, planning next moves. 2015. Shadow Fiend is farming incredibly well. He's up to 180 last hits now. That's 9 CS per minute, very efficient. 2030. Teamfight brewing near mid. Both teams posturing. 5 versus 5 forming. 2040. Fight breaks out. Chronosphere from Void. He caught 2 heroic heroes, Shadow Shaman and Warlock frozen. Dream Coil from Puck. Covers the entire fight. Heroic heroes leashed. Meld strikes from TA. Massive damage. Shadow Shaman dies instantly to burst. Warlock trying to cast Golem but gets interrupted. He dies. Heroic losing this fight. Shadow Fiend retreating. Beastmaster retreating. Vici Gaming wins teamfight 3 kills to 0. This is huge. They're pushing mid. 2045. Vici Gaming taking Heroic's top tier 2 tower. Actually, checking data at 12:45 seconds, it's in BST Dota Good Guys Tower 1 top to Beastmaster. Good Guys is Radiant, Vici Gaming. So Heroic takes Vici Gaming's top tier 1 tower. Wait, I'm getting confused. Let me recheck. At 12:45 seconds, the tower destroyed is Vici Gaming's, killed by Heroic's Beastmaster. So Heroic takes Vici Gaming's last tier 1 tower. 21 minutes. Item completion. Puck finishes Blink Dagger. Now Puck has double mobility with Illusory Orb and Blink. Incredibly slippery. 21:30. Another completion. Shadow Fiend finishes Black King Bar. Magic immunity. This is critical. Now Shadow Fiend can BKB to avoid Arena, to avoid disables and Requiem safely. 22 minutes. The game is reaching its critical phase. Heroic needs to push now with their items. Vici Gaming needs to stall and get more items on TA and Void. 22:20. Smoke gank from Vici Gaming. 4 heroes smoked. Moving through Heroic jungle, looking for pick. 22:35. They find Shadow Fiend farming. Blink from Mars. Spear into Cliff. Shadow Fiend stunned. Shadow Fiend BKBs immediately. Magic immunity. But physical damage still works. Meld from TA. Huge damage even through BKB. Shadow Fiend at half health. Beastmaster arrives. Roar on TA. She's locked down. Fight chaos. Both teams fully engaged. 2250. Chronosphere from Void. Catches Beastmaster and Shadow Shaman. They're frozen. Dream Coil from Puck. Heroic can't escape. TA killing Beastmaster. Aegis pops. He respawns instantly. But Heroic is losing heroes. Shadow Shaman dead. Warlock dead. Vici Gaming wins fight 4-1. They got 4 kills. Heroic only killed TA once, but she has buyback gold. 2320. Vici Gaming is pushing. They're taking mid-tier 2 tower from Heroic. Actually checking objectives. I need to track tier 2 towers now. 24 minutes. Checking objectives data at 14:62 seconds. 24:22. Roshan dies again. Heroic takes second Roshan. Aegis goes to Shadow Fiend, slot 128. This is critical. Shadow Fiend has Aegis now. Heroic can push high ground. 24:30. Heroic grouping with Aegis. 5-man push. They're going mid. 25 minutes. They're hitting tier 2 towers. Pushing deep into Vici Gaming territory. 25:30. Serpent wards down. Golem summoned. Massive push. Vici Gaming defending but struggling. 26 minutes. Tower siege. Heroic systematically hitting structures. 26:46. Vici Gaming's top tier 2 tower falls to Void Spirit. Heroic breaking through. 26:59. Vici Gaming's mid-tier 2 tower falls to Shadow Fiend. Heroic rolling. 27:30. Heroic at their power peak. They have Aegis, they have items, they're taking map control. 28 minutes. They're pushing bottom. 29:20. Vici Gaming's bottom tier 2 tower falls. All 3 tier 2 towers gone for Vici Gaming. Heroic 1 layer from barracks. 29:40. But Vici Gaming is farming. TA is getting huge. She's up to 300 CS now. She has Desolator blink and working toward BKB. 30 minutes. The critical timing. This is where Heroic needs to break high ground or Vici Gaming's late game comes online. 30:30. Heroic grouping at Vici Gaming's top tier 3 tower. High ground push attempt. 31 minutes. They're hesitating. High ground is dangerous. One bad fight and Vici Gaming could counter push. 31:30. They're hitting tower from range. Tower at 75% health. 32 minutes. Ice Path from Jakiro. Stops the push. Heroic backs off. 32:30. Heroic tries again. BKB's activated. They're going in. 33 minutes. Tower falling. Top tier 3 at 30% health. 33:30. Chronosphere from Void. Catches 3 heroic heroes. This is the fight. TA and Puck bursting heroes in Chrono. Massive damage. Heroic heroes dying. Shadow Fiend gets caught. Dies. Aegis pops. Respawns. But Heroic is losing the fight. Void Spirit dead. Shadow Shaman dead. Heroic has to retreat. High ground push failed. 34 minutes. Vici Gaming holds. They defended successfully. 34:3. Heroic takes third Roshan. Aegis to Shadow Fiend again. They're not giving up. 35 minutes. Heroic pushing again. They're determined. Mid-tier 3 tower. 35:30. Tower falling. Mid-tier 3 at low health. 36:12. Vici Gaming's top tier 3 falls. Heroic getting closer to barracks. 37 minutes. Heroic at the base. Hitting barracks. 37:43. Vici Gaming's mid-tier 3 falls. Barracks exposed. But teamfight erupts. Chronosphere. Dream Coil. Vici Gaming's combo. Heroic getting wiped. They lose 4 heroes. Vici Gaming counter-pushing. They're taking mid. 38 minutes. The game is swinging. Vici Gaming now has momentum. 40 minutes. Both teams fully farmed. Every fight could end game. 41 minutes. TA has BKB now. She's nearly unstoppable. 6 slotted carry. 42 minutes. Another fight mid. Chronosphere. 3 heroic heroes caught. TA deleting heroes with meld. Shadow Fiend dies. Through BKB to physical damage. Vici Gaming winning fights. Their late game is too strong. 43-23. Vici Gaming takes Heroic's mid-tier 2 tower. They're pushing back. 43-44. Heroic's mid-tier 3 falls. Vici Gaming at Barracks, 44 minutes, Barracks falling. Vici Gaming taking mid racks, 45 minutes. Both melee and ranged racks down mid for heroic. Mega Creeps disadvantage, 46 minutes. Final fight. Vici Gaming going for throne. Chronosphere. Dream Coil. Arena. Everything used. Heroic trying to defend but down heroes. Can't stop the push. TA hitting throne. Mars tanking. Jakiro controlling space. 47 minutes. Throne health dropping. 50%. 30%. 10%. 47 minutes 7 seconds. The Ancient falls. Vici Gaming wins. Final score, 23-20. Close game, but Vici Gaming's execution prevailed. What an incredible match. Heroic executed their strategy perfectly for 35 minutes, taking towers, securing Roshan 3 times, and pushing high ground. But Vici Gaming's patient defense with Jakiro and Mars held long enough for their cores to reach critical mass. The turning point came at 37 minutes when Heroic was sieging high ground but couldn't break through. Every failed push gave TA more time to farm, more items to complete. By 45 minutes, TA with Desolator, BKB and full items became unstoppable. Her meld strikes dealt 800 plus damage per hit. Faceless Void's Chronosphere caught multiple heroes every fight. Puck's mobility made him unkillable. The MVP has to be Asteen's Paw on Puck with 9 kills, 2 deaths and 12 assists. His mechanical skill was extraordinary, phase shift dodging critical spells, dream coils perfectly timed with chronospheres, and repositioning that made him impossible to catch. Rosilia on Templar Assassin dealt the most hero damage at 25,671 and maintained 868 GPM. Bach on Mars provided the front line that absorbed damage and controlled fights with Arena. What could Heroic have done differently? They needed to take more aggressive fights inside Vici Gaming's base rather than slowly sieging towers. With 3 Aegis across the game, they should have dove harder, forcing fights before TA completed her 3rd and 4th items. They played too cautiously around high ground, giving Vici Gaming time to turtle and farm. By 40 minutes the window closed. Vici Gaming's performance was near perfect. They absorbed pressure, defended patiently, used Jakiro's ice path to prevent clean engages, and waited for their win condition to mature. Once TA and Void reached full items, their team fight became unbeatable. That final Chronosphere at 46 minutes catching 3 heroes was game-winning. Heroic couldn't recover. Congratulations to Vici Gaming on a masterclass in late-game execution. They showed discipline, patience, and perfect ability usage when it mattered most. Both teams played exceptionally well, but Vici Gaming's strategy prevailed in this 47-minute epic.